Welcome to GameFans podcast number 13. I'm your host, or one of them, Nick, and we have with us Ashley King from WiiUDaily.com and also Mark Hearn from Xbox1Daily.com. Today's news, before we get into it, we've got Sony's launch lineup continues to get bigger with indie games and whatnot. Rayman Legends came out this week. Some big news about Nintendo hardware, and Microsoft drops a huge bomb. There's also so much more news. Welcome, guys. How you guys doing?
I'm
doing
good.
Okay.
Excited.
Cool. Mark, did you just celebrate a birthday?
Yes, I did.
I don't suppose you'd be willing to tell everybody how old you are.
Yeah, sure. Why not? 31. I don't.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't live in my mom or my grandma's basement. No offense to anyone who does. And you know, I'm 31.
We're family men, right?
Yeah.
I wonder, what is the demographic of our listeners? I think Ashley would probably be able to answer that.
They're probably quite a bit younger.
I'm willing to bet. We've got from 14 to maybe like mid 30s, like 35, 14 to 35. That's what I'm thinking.
14 to 35?
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Well, I wonder if there are any listeners under 14 that are like, wait, what about me?
Yeah.
So you make them sound like Mickey Mouse?
Oh, no, I do a good Mickey Mouse. You learn to do those things when you get kids.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, but I'm just like you said, family man. Turned 31. No shame in that.
Well, congratulations. Hey, I'm 33, so you're a baby to me, buddy. But Ashley, I think, is the real baby.
Yeah.
I am the real baby among this group, sadly.
Yeah. You don't have to tell us your name because it's very rude to ask a woman.
Never ask a woman her age and her weight. You never do that.
Never do that. Yeah, see, I botched that too.
A woman can be anorexic, and you say, "Hey, how much do you weigh?" She's gonna look at you like you a-hole. So it doesn't matter. You don't ask their age. You don't ask their weight. You never do that. So. Oh yeah, gaming stuff.
This is a gaming podcast to talk about all things Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft. And we do have a bunch of good news this week. I think this is going to be a big week. Started off with Sony this week. They've got an application called the Playroom that is coming bundled in with every PS4 for free, which is really nice because I can't recall the last time I bought a console that came with a game. And for some reason, Nintendo, the NES comes to mind. So this is kind of nice, but the same token, the Playroom requires the camera. So this is definitely a strategic move to get people to buy the camera on day one, even though the bundles don't come with it. But interestingly enough, Double Fine is making DLC for the Playroom. I don't know if you guys know anything about this, but we don't know if the DLC is going to be paid or free. We just heard that Double Fine is working on it. So that'll be interesting. Also, one of my favorite recent releases for PlayStation 3 and Vita has been outed as a launch game for PS4. It's called Divekick by Iron Galaxy. It's a 2-button fighter. Basically, all it has is a jump button. They actually call it a dive button, which is silly to me. But it's a jump button and then a dive kick button. And that's it. There's no traditional movement controls. You can't move forward, move back. There's no crouch. There's no block. Just those 2 buttons. And there's also combinations when you hit the 2 buttons at the same time. And you build up your meter. You get special moves. Or you can juice yourself up so you kind of move faster than the other guy. Each character is completely different. They have different kick. Some people come from really high and shoot down low, and some people will float across the screen. So there's different variations there. So I'm excited to see that come to PS4 on day one.
You know, you keep saying day one. Is it day one like an Xbox gimmick word, like buzzword? Day one?
Whatever.
Shouldn't you say something like play day or whatever they want to call it? But does it? But
play day.
No, seriously, is it day one?
Force a habit.
Day one is so
force a habit.
Yeah. Well, that shows that Microsoft's PR finally did something good because you're trying to say day one for the competition. So there you go.
I doubt that Microsoft invented those 2 words next to each other.
No, they didn't. But I've yet to see a day one edition anything for the PlayStation. So
I didn't even think about the day one edition.
It's kind of like the.
So
it's kind of like the term gamer tag though. Like I'm on PSN. I'm on the Wii's Nintendo's online service. But a lot of people just say gamer tag. What's your gamer tag? So
Sure. I haven't said gamer tag since the original Xbox. That was when I actually paid for Live.
Yeah, but
so, that's just me. That's just me though, because we don't use that term on PlayStation.
Yeah,
which kind of sucks though, because our term is not that awesome. It's not that cool. PSN ID, boring.
It sounds really dry. But yeah, so enough of me.
Gamer tag is definitely more macho. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but just razzing you a little bit. But
that's fine. I love a good razzing. So last bit of news for Sony, which bleeds us right into Nintendo. Rayman Legends finally was released. Big old multi-platform. I won't steal Nintendo's thunder, but because the Vita version came out and it's missing tons of content. This is so disappointing. But it turns out that of all the versions, Ubisoft, what's the developer? I can't even pronounce it. I can't. I don't speak French. So, anyways, the original developer worked on Rayman Legends for every single platform except Vita. Somebody else did Vita. And it turns out the Vita version is missing all these levels, all this content. And Ubisoft, on their Ubi blog, a guy named Gary Steinman, communications manager, has confirmed that the Vita version will, in fact, have a patch that he says will come at a later date. And it will include invasion mode for free with 100 levels, 100 additional levels, online co-op challenges, Kung Foot mini games, 5 exclusive touch challenges, developed specifically for the Vita, and 2 exclusive costumes. So I guess all that's coming for free, which will be pretty dope.
I think it was nice of them to fix that mistake. I mean, they could have pulled an EA and not fixed it.
Well, that is if it was in fact a mistake, right? Like, with the development cycles of games, they could have halted the release of the Vita version and then released the rest, but then that would have drawn negative press, which is not always a bad thing. I don't know. I don't know. They released the game, it came out lackluster, I don't know.
Anytime I see a third-party studio doing something with a game, I kind of tend to blame them for not doing it correctly.
Yes.
I know that was the case with Aliens Colonial Marines. Gearbox outsourced to Timegate, and it turned out to be a huge mess.
Aww.
And that's kind of made me a little bit wary of saying, this is Rayman Legends, but it's developed by a different studio. I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
So... But yeah, Rayman Legends is on Wii U this week. You can pick it up. It released yesterday, and it's been out a little bit longer in the UK, which I just want to drop an interesting factoid here. It released at number 14 in the top 10 or the top 20 for Wii U, and the Xbox 360 and PS3 versions released at 18 and 20 respectively. So the Wii U version did sell more than the other consoles. Which, I think that's interesting. I mean, Mark, wasn't it you saying that you didn't think a game would sell more on Wii U than
if you're gonna quote
any
me,
of the
get
other
it right.
consoles?
If you're gonna quote me,
What
get
was
it
it?
right.
What was it you said?
I said I don't think that the Wii U version of any multi-platform game will outsell the Xbox One or PS4 version. That's what I said.
Fair. I think that's fair enough.
And keep in mind, this game started off as a native Wii U game.
Sure, it did,
Yes.
but it's multi-platform now. I mean, what does that matter?
It became multi-platform because Ubisoft said, oh no, it's not going to sell well on the Wii U. It won't sell enough. And then it'll be...
Yep.
That is true, but I still maintain that it is very...
Oh no,
it's very great.
Here's the truth. Here's the truth in this. If I get this game, I'm going to get it for the Wii U because I feel deep down inside that it was intended to be a Wii U game, so it should be the superior version. However, going forward, I think most multi-platform games, when the 2 new consoles come out in November, are going to probably take the lead. Not probably, I'm willing to almost guarantee that they're going to take the lead in sales.
Well,
that's true.
I think numbers will prove that.
Yeah,
fact. Because the Wii U sales need to definitely double, maybe even triple when these new consoles come out. And how's that going to happen when people just dropped $500 on an
Well,
system?
I can tell you how the Wii U sales can go up. Maybe they might drop the price Did that happen?
Yes, that has happened, Mark. Thank you for that.
Nice segue.
Nintendo has announced that they, after, I think it was like 6 months of saying, no, we can't drop the price.
After losing games to cross-platform, they decided to drop the price.
They finally announced that they're dropping the price of the Wii U Deluxe model, which is the 32 gigabyte black system. It used to retail for $349. It will now retail for $299.
That's a significant decrease, actually.
Yes, Sony, that is a significant discount. The Wii U basic model is being dropped altogether, which is good, I think. It helps reduce confusion with different SKUs, and it really, for people that, I was kind of confused by people that decided to buy the basic model because it wasn't that great of a deal. People are saying, oh, I didn't want Nintendo Land, but the deluxe model has that deluxe promotion with it where if you buy a digital title, you'll get 10% of that back towards credit. And if you buy just 5 things digitally over the lifetime of the console, you've paid for that extra $50 that you paid. So that's a good deal for me. And I'm definitely happy to see that Nintendo has decided that, yes, they need to drop the price because that will definitely help move units.
As someone who actually got the basic bundle Wii U, I wasn't sweating the whole black thing and, the Nintendo Land thing. I just have an external drive hooked up to my system and it works fine. So that's the reason I avoided it.
That seems to be what a lot of people have done. My setup, I prefer not to have another thing plugged in to everything that I have over there. So,
and the thing for me was I really tried to imagine what would I use USBs on a Wii U for, USB ports, and I really couldn't think of anything else but an external drive. So I was just like, you know what, you don't want Nintendo Land. I was one of those people. And I
just want to say a lot of people razz on Nintendo Land, but this weekend I had company over and they had never seen the Wii U before. They're like, what's this? So I showed it to them and I put in Nintendo Land and let them play it, and they played it for hours. Like, they loved Nintendo Land. So people that are like, oh, I don't want Nintendo Land. I don't want Nintendo Land. I think it's a great way to introduce people.
Bursts through the wall and says, hey, Nintendo!
I think it's a great way to introduce people that aren't familiar with games or gaming in general to games. And people knock Nintendo for saying, oh, that's childish, but I don't feel like it is.
No, not at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I just depicted Reggie Fils-Aimé as the Kool-Aid man.
Yeah, I just thought about it. I envisioned that, and he was red, and he had red sweats on and a tidy, whitey red T-shirt.
Oh, maybe he busts through the wall and says, "My body is ready."
That'd be awesome.
He'd be a good kick. He'd be a good dive kick character.
We need to have Reggie as a bonus character on the new Smash Bros.
Man,
people have been campaigning for that.
That would be amazing. I'd camp out for that.
Would you?
You would camp out for that.
I'm just joshing you guys.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
31-year-old Mark jokes around a lot more than 30-year-old Mark, So,
oh, really?
Yeah.
I thought you said you don't talk in the third person like that.
Sometimes I do. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes Mark Hearn talks in the third person. Sometimes Mark Hearn doesn't,
Sometimes I don't. Sometimes he does.
Oh.
But Nintendo, there was more from Nintendo. Let's get back to those.
This was a big one, and it took everyone by surprise. Last week, everyone was like, "Oh my God, did they seriously just do that?" But yes, they did. Nintendo announced the 2DS.
What?
And what is 2DS? You might be asking. Is it a 3DS without 3D? Yes, it is.
So wouldn't it just be like a DS 2013?
Yeah, kinda. They dropped the clamshell because they were going after the younger demographic, and I've seen a lot of people have their kids with DSs and things, and the hinges are all cracked, so that makes a lot of sense. It's not clamshell anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And
you gave me a hard time because I compared this to the Leap Pad. The Leapfrog stuff. Yes, I did. I have a friend who works at Leapfrog, and that's a very common thing, actually, at Leapfrog. Like, they look at Nintendo as being actually their next competitor. They don't look down at the those other toy companies, even though they are themselves a toy company by definition. But they're actually looking at the demographic that Nintendo has to try and steal that market. And given that Reggie himself said publicly that this 2DS is for, what was it, ages like 5 to 8 or something, really narrow age group, and that explains how, like, why it's built in that way. And that's essentially what Leapfrog does when they build their hardware. They make their own video game consoles. So I think they definitely should be compared.
I'll tell you this. I have a confession to make. I almost pre-ordered one of these things over the weekend, so
I knew it.
They are succeeding.
I knew it.
Almost.
Hey, I think it's pretty cool. It's got my vote. I'll tell you that much. But definitely, I got a few words to say about it. But I'm not gonna say it right now.
What is it? $130, right? US. That is
good price.
It's a really sweet spot. That screams impulse buy. Like, hey,
yeah, it does.
Like, hey, guess what? I worked a few hours of overtime this week. I got a little money on my paycheck. What am I going to do with it? I can go buy beer and burgers, or I can get a 2DS. 2DS for the win.
You spend $130 on beer and burgers? That's a lot of money.
I buy rounds for people. I don't even drink anymore. So what am I saying? Mark Hearn does not drink anymore. There we go. So, but no, it screams impulse buy. You know what I mean? It's one of those things like, hey, it's someone's birthday. They got a gift card. What are they going to do? Buy a 2DS. So, yeah.
Regardless of your opinions on the design, which as you said, Nick, it is designed for younger hands.
A lot of people are saying good things about it, though, once they actually touched it.
Yeah, well, they had them at PAX, and you could play with them. And a friend of mine on Twitter was telling me he went to PAX and took pictures of the Nintendo booth since we weren't there, and I put those up on Wii U Daily, and he was like, yeah, I got to play with the 2DS a little bit, and it feels really great.
Yeah, that's what everyone was saying. Everybody crapped a brick when they announced it.
It's like, I think the 2DS is like a Prius, because, everybody craps on the Prius, but when you drive one, it's like, wow, this is really nice, and it actually works. Like, I think that's the same thing. People are crapping on the 2DS, but then when they actually play it, it works. Like, it feels good.
Spoken like a Prius owner, Nick.
That's right. I do own a Prius, but I'm telling the truth. Like, it's a perfect metaphor. Perfect simile between those two devices. I do call the Prius a device. It's not a car.
I'll tell you this. Like I said, I almost pre-ordered one. I did not, but I can see it possibly happening. You know what I mean? Like I said, it being an impulse move.
When I posted the announcement on Wii U Daily, a lot of people that I know on there that have been interested in 3DS news, when I post it, they say, oh, I don't have a 3DS yet, but this looks really cool. A lot of those people were like, yeah, this is a lot more affordable, and now I can actually play those games because I don't care about 3D. Despite the device being made for a younger market, I think it's
a brilliant move.
A lot of high schoolers, college students, young adults will probably end up buying this because it's cheap.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the 3D gimmick they don't care about, and they can finally play a lot of those good games that are ending up on 3DS.
People want what Reggie says they can't have.
Mark my word. In the next few months, because it comes out, was it October?
It's October 12th, I believe.
Yeah.
The same day as Pokemon X and Y.
Mark my word.
4 days before my birthday.
You're going to be doing your holiday shopping, if that's your thing, around November. You're going to see a bunch of mall cops holding 2DSs passing time. That's what's going to happen.
I don't know. I really wish this thing was a clamshell. That's the only thing that holds me back from really going out and buying it for $130, because I'm a fan of putting things in my pockets and not having to carry around a little sock bag.
It's smaller than the 3DS.
Yeah, but it does not go in the pocket.
I know it doesn't fold up.
Yeah, if Chris was here, he would be like, it can't fit my girly jeans. It's the same thing. Like, it just doesn't go in anyone's pocket. So that kind of like just alienates most adults, I think. But anybody who carries around their little man purse all the time, then fine, there's room for it in there, I'm sure.
I don't know. I look at it and say the one drawback, like everyone says, it doesn't fold up. But hey, the Vita doesn't fold up either. People carry those. Few people carry those around, but some do.
Yeah. So that's true. I carry my Vita around with me everywhere, but the Vita is wider than it is tall, so it actually slides into a pocket much easier than a big old square.
I just look at it like this. Someone who follows me on Twitter, I made a comment and I said something to the effect of, I'm out on a ledge about to leap, and it said like pre-order 2DS in parentheses, and someone talked me down. someone was like, why the hell would you do that? Why do you even want that thing? It's ugly and it's huge. And then I sent them a picture of it sitting next to a fully open 3DS. And they were like, oh, it's not that big. And it's like, it's not that big.
It's really hard to tell how big it is from those marketing photos. But if you see it in people's hands from people playing it at PAX, or you see it next to an actual 3DS, you realize that it's a little bit smaller. The only difference is it doesn't close up.
Yes,
that's a marketing mistake. You guys remember when the iPods were first being sold, like back in the day, and they always showed an iPod next to like a deck of cards, and different things that people are familiar with.
Yeah.
To show you exactly how big it is. They should have done something like that with this.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, they should have.
Yeah, but
because in photographing it looks like it could be any size.
Looks like it's the size of my MacBook.
Yeah, it looks like it could be big. I mean, I doubt. I never believed for a moment that it was bigger than the original 3DS.
Nick, I'm sure that they'll correct that for the next iteration, which is the 2DS XL.
No. The 2DS Fold.
There you go. I'll buy it. The $20 more for the hinge.
Speaking of XL, the Pokemon 3D XL special editions will be releasing on September 27th. Those are a red and blue special edition 3DS that has the legendary Pokemon from X and Y on them. The interesting thing is usually when these bundles are released, they include the game with them, but these 3DSs will not. So if you buy a Pokemon 3DS XL Special Edition, you will also have to purchase the game separately.
So interesting and misleading.
I mean, it's special because you can't get that design anywhere else unless you have someone make a decal to put on your regular 3DS, which is what I would do.
Are these hand-painted by Satoru Iwata?
Yes. He paints everyone and numbers them.
Autographed and numbered. Then that's fine. It doesn't have to come with the game.
I just had a
doesn't even have to work.
I just had a dark thought in my head. Like I picture him like in some like sweatshop, like a drug house, like crack house setup with half naked people.
No. Stop.
Assembling these things by hand so they don't steal. They're like half naked.
Direct to you.
Yeah. No, I'm saying they're like sitting there so they can't steal. He has them like stripped of all their clothes and dignity. And he's like,
somebody hit Mark's mute button.
He's just yelling at him and like beating him with canes, making them make these things.
And then Reggie bursts through the wall naked and says, "My body's ready."
That'd be horrible, but yeah. But
allow me to one up you.
Well,
so in the world of Nintendo, we have all these great announcements. But what about Microsoft?
Yeah, so
I'm wondering.
Allow me to one up you.
Okay.
So we're gonna cut to the chase. We're gonna give you dessert before your veggies here if you're an Xbox fan. Xbox One has a release date. Drum roll, please. November 22nd.
Woohoo!
1 week after the PS4, the same day that the Xbox 360 launched on in 2005, November 22nd. That's day one. That's day one.
Well, day one for the Xbox.
No, day one, Nick. Microsoft owns that phrase. It's day one.
Okay. Uh-huh.
I think it's interesting that Microsoft is launching after the PS4 here in the United States, but they're launching before in Europe.
Yeah.
Because the PlayStation 4 is not launching in Europe until the 29th.
Perhaps there's some strategy to that. I mean, Europe has always been bigger territory for Sony, and Microsoft has struggled, so maybe they're trying to kick those bundles out, those FIFA bundles, and, I don't know. Maybe it's a strategic move.
I know about that FIFA bundle. I heard that only people that pre-ordered the day one edition were getting that FIFA bundle.
Well, hey, I'll tell you this. If we've got day one edition still available here in the US of A, which we do, and some retailers, there should be some in Europe, I'd hope, but we'll see.
Yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know last I checked, GameStop was sold out again. Best Buy opened back up over the weekend. And Target is still up and running for both Sony and Microsoft consoles. And Walmart is too. So, I mean, there's still day one editions out there for those who want to get it. But, I mean, I don't know. I'm wondering, people have it in their mind, I guess, that they're going to be able to just walk in the store and get a PS4 or an Xbox One on launch day. And I mean, some people are probably in for a rude awakening.
I'm gonna be able to walk to the door and open a box and get mine out.
Yeah, it's
pretty great.
You're gonna pick up a rattling box.
No.
Oh, that would suck.
Amazon always takes very good care of me. I'll have you know. Yeah. I bought a 47-inch TV from them, and it arrived without a scratch.
It's not Amazon that I'm worried about; it's the courier that I'd be worried about.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah,
they're going to be shipping out a lot of those because I think Amazon is definitely topping, pre-order sales for these consoles.
Yeah. In addition to the Xbox being ready to go and locked and loaded, there was also talk that it received a slight performance boost in its CPU. It was clocked at 1.6 gigahertz. Now it's at 1.75 gigahertz. And this was recently revealed by Yosef. That's that dude's last name. I cannot recall his last name. Yosef Mehdi? I think that's how you pronounce it.
That sounds good.
Yusuf Mehdi.
Yusef. Sorry, sir, if I messed your name up. But yeah. He announced that at a conference that everything's ready to go, everything's locked and loaded, it's got a performance boost, we're doing this, we're doing that, and this is where we're at. But he didn't give a release date because he knew they were going to say it. They're going to announce it today.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. So it's a slight increase. But hey, last I checked, better performance is always welcome. So
what do you know about this this rumor about a stacked GPU discreetly embedded into like the processors on the Xbox One?
I heard something about that. Keep in mind, I actually did get a few days off over this past week.
Yeah.
But I had a buddy message me about that.
He's gloating.
Yeah, for real, I am. But I had a buddy message me about that. He's like, "What's this mystery chip going around that I'm hearing about?" That's how.
Is that your impression of your buddy? Because that's pretty great. Like I don't even know him, but that's a great impression.
That's what his text message sounds like to me. I don't know.
Oh, that's what his text message.
He didn't even wish me. We've been friends for like 10 years almost. He didn't even wish me happy birthday. What's this mystery chip on Xbox One I'm hearing about? So I'm like, okay. I'm like, I don't know. The CPU got a boost. And he's like, that's not what I'm talking about. So.
Sounds like you're plagued with reading his texts like that every single time.
Man, every single time. That's exactly what I hear.
Yep.
But
who gets that angry about something that's going into a competitor's chip? Like
this dude.
That doesn't bother me at all.
This dude has Sony underoos on. That's why.
I like this guy. Well, I take that back.
Yeah, he's got Sony underoos
comment on his underoos.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. But I don't know. I've heard little tidbits about that. You guys were a little more in the know this past week.
Well, I've been doing research about this, but because this is a rumor, everyone is reporting it as a rumor.
And I take rumors with tiny grains of salt.
Yeah, but there's a lot of consistency with the sources of these rumors, but at the same time, they are rumors. And also, this is like way over my head stuff.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing.
Really, to be honest.
Good or bad. I don't care if it's Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo. I don't care. I take every rumor with a grain of salt. They can say the Xbox has 16 gigabytes of RAM, actually, and, blah, 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 blah. And, it can, doesn't matter. It's a rumor. Until they say it's official and they show something, detailing this, it's a rumor. And I mean, it could be the truth.
But if it is true, then this is a plus in Xbox's category because it would prove that they have been developing the hardware for a long time. Because a lot of people have been saying slanderous remarks like they just pulled this out of their back pocket as quick as they could, and they're rushing out to launch. And Microsoft has said publicly that they're not rushing the hardware. And
it's so funny.
This rumor sort of says that they've been working on it for years, talking with IBM and working out deals to get exclusive hardware.
That people are saying that, but I remember about, I want to say 3.5, 4 years ago, Microsoft's, and I mean, like I said, I'm not going to stake my soul on this, but if I can recall, Microsoft announced that they had entered development for their Xbox 360 successor. This was like 3.5, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And I mean, so for people to say they're rushing it, Google it.
Well, yeah, you got to do your R&D.
Yeah, because I mean, they said they had entered the state, and there was also rumors a while back that they were going to make their own chips, which of course didn't happen. But there was rumors about that. I mean, here's the thing: if you really do the math, The 360 released in 2005, so it's actually a year older than the PS4. The PS3 successor came quicker, but yet people are saying Microsoft is rushing. It's kind of weird. I think maybe people have their preferences and favoritism tends to get the better of them.
I think it's clearly the reason why everybody says they're rushing is not because of the hardware itself, but it's because of their processes involved around the hardware, like the sharing accounts, all the stuff that they announced from E3 being completely reversed. That side of it felt rushed, like they didn't think things through. Whereas Sony hit it out of the park because they didn't have any of that same stuff going on, so in comparison, they hit it out of the park. And that's why people in comparison are saying, Sony came prepared, everything was set in stone, they didn't decide anything at the last second, whereas it feels like Microsoft really didn't think in advance, they didn't think ahead with their processes and their delivery. Ultimately, I think it was just poor delivery.
Yeah, I think it's a bad idea. And did they have a plan B? I believe they did, because another thing is when they announced the system and everybody was boo-hooing and hissing and moaning about this, there was a disclosure on the frequently asked questions section of the Xbox One's product page that said we reserve the right to reevaluate these policies and, based upon something to the effect of consumer feedback and market conditions.
Yeah.
So,
well, that's the stuff that should have been handled before E3.
Yeah.
They should have done the market condition research and the consumer feedback stuff before E3, before the gigantic announcement.
I'll tell you this.
Ultimately created this landslide of stuff.
I'll tell you this. They screwed up. They put a Band-Aid on it. They stitched it up, put a Band-Aid on it, and it's healing. So we'll see how things look in November. But moving along, not as big as the Xbox One's release date, the system itself does support 8 controllers at a time. Is couch co-op dead? Apparently they don't think so.
That's too many.
Yeah, that's way too many.
I don't care how big your TV is. That's huge.
Yeah. Well, Mark, you like to go back to history to point out why things are good or bad. Sony has 7 on the PS3. There's like one game, and I have it, that supports 7 controllers, but have I ever played 7-player? No. And do you know the kind of game it is? It's a slot racing game, and the cars are teeny tiny on my 60-inch. So like literally I have to have 7 people standing up 4 feet from my screen to be able to play that game. 7 players. And 1 player even I have to stand that close. So it's really not that fun of a game, but, whatever.
The only way I can see this being useful, and this is just me reaching, is say you have a LAN party set up and controller, people can use multiple screens or something like that, but play off of one console. And I remember that's what Sony was trying to do back in the day with the PS3, but it never really happened. But if you can do something like that, like where it's like, hey, we can sync up consoles and, 2 consoles can handle 16 people on multiple displays, that's great. But, we're in an age where couch co-op is almost dead. I mean, when's the last time you bought a game that supported couch co-op?
Last week.
It was what?
Divekick.
Okay, Ashley?
Well, it's not couch co-op. It's couch competitive play.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, we played Nintendo Land all week, so.
But you know what's funny?
There's a bundle of games coming out for PSN called Sports Friends that is only couch co-op. So I think to counter your statement here, there's a resurgence of couch co-op coming to PlayStation from indie games.
Well, I'll tell you this. Microsoft must have some idea to add that, or maybe that's just one of those bullet points on a spec sheet to say, hey, you can use 8 controllers, even if you don't.
Well, maybe that's okay. So going back to the Sony thing, the reason why Sony put 7 controllers supporting on their PS3 was not necessarily to have 7 DualShock 3s.
No.
That was to have 7 Bluetooth devices connected.
That's what I was going to say.
That included Bluetooth headsets that took up 1 slot, or a Move controller that took up 1, or the navigation controller that took up 1. So, if they're going to announce some more accessories that would go onto this, it would take up some of those slots, and that would make total sense. Or if you had 4-player co-op where it was like Gears of War or something, and it was 4 people teams locally playing against another team of 4 people online, and then your 4 people in your living room all had Bluetooth headsets. There's your 8, your 8 devices.
That's the thing. The Xbox One doesn't use Bluetooth.
Okay.
So,
well, I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
Well, then the headsets will be proprietary. They wouldn't use Bluetooth. They would just be
maybe it's some funky
controllers.
Maybe it's a funky bullet point, or maybe they've got some crazy idea to work that out. Again, getting back to what I said, we'll see in November, I guess. Or no, we won't see this in November. We'll see this more like November next year. But one last tidbit here. Speaking of the Xbox, it's coming November 22nd. Pop bottles, woohoo, we're happy. Major Nelson, he gave us a behind-the-scenes sweatshop, dirty factory look at what he called the first pallet of Xbox Ones ready to go to retailers. So apparently, for this supposed rush console, they've got pallets boxed up, ready to go to your local game store or electronics store.
That's pretty cool.
And of course, like all things gaming, there's a street code, there's a street date code. There's huge orange stickers plastered on these boxes. And if you zoom in, it says, do not sell this before blah, 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 blah. Don't do this before blah, 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 blah. I'm willing to bet you that someone's going to sell this thing early. I mean,
something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Do either of you guys watch Breaking Bad?
Of course.
I've watched the beginning of it.
Of course.
Mark, have you caught up on the recent episodes?
Of course. I'm glued to it, and I'm weeping that it's coming to an end.
When they go to the, I guess it's kind of a minor spoiler if you're interested in the show, but kind of not really. It's just a small detail. When they send what's-his-face, the two thugs of Saul's, to go get the money out of the storage shed that Skylar just been piling in there.
Money angels or whatever you want to call it.
they just lay in the money and just like, oh, this is great. I just picture people just laying on that Xbox.
There's some dude licking an Xbox.
Like, oh, this is
There's
great.
some dude in a dirty, poorly ventilated factory licking an Xbox that's going to be yours someday. Getting his Jessica Chubb.
They're going to be sitting there for a long
time.
Yeah. This is only September, the beginning of September. Those things would be sitting there for 3 months.
So that's what I'm saying. He said ready to ship to retail.
That's a little crazy.
No, but
those boxes are empty.
Hey, don't say that. That's how stupid rumors get started.
Those boxes are empty, dude.
They're facades.
They're empty.
They're facades.
They're shell. Hey, if he opens each one of them, then I'll believe him.
But that's
each one of them.
But that's what I'm saying, though.
Each one.
Everyone says the system's rushed. It's rushed. It's rushed. They announced the release date, and then they start showing us, pallets of them ready to go. Here's the thing. Get ready to count down till we find one on eBay. That's what I say.
Yeah.
We find one on eBay.
Depends on where that pallet is. If it's locked up tightly in Microsoft's headquarters in Seattle.
Nah, it's probably like it's probably some other place. Like it's probably being made by what's that place? Foxconn or something like that. It's probably being made by them.
Oh, so you think Larry was in China?
Nah, I'm not even
standing in front of the pallet.
I'm not even saying he took that picture. Somebody there could have texted to him.
They green screened it.
This all sounds suspect.
But my thing is this: they're definitely ready to go. They're standing by it. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see if it's Armageddon come November, to where it's like, hey, I want an Xbox. Oh, we don't have any of those. Or are there going to be tons of Xboxes going around? Who knows? But they're supposedly ready.
Well, that's all good news, I think.
It is all good news. Isn't that so rare to find good news from all three? There's no trash slinging, there's no trash talk. It's just good news for gamers.
Yeah,
and I'm really happy for that.
Yeah, we all
mostly
win.
Coming from Nintendo and Microsoft too.
We all win.
Yeah. So we had a great time announcing all those news, you guys. But it's time to move on. What do you say?
Yeah.
It is.
Did we get any listener comments this week?
There were a lot of comments from people. Nothing that I specifically wanted to highlight. I was talking about episode quality with a lot of people on Wii U Daily, so that's where most of the comments went.
We have this one commenter, Ashley, that you might have seen before. It goes by the name like Guest 1 Million or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who is this guy? Because he's
he kind of stalks me, and it's kind of creepy.
I think this guy just went very pro Xbox on some of the comments I'm looking at.
It's not even about him being pro Xbox. He started on Wii U Daily, and he was trolling everyone. He was calling people names, and
it's just not good. No trolling people.
I banned him because I don't tolerate that. If you troll on Wii U Daily, you get banned. I'm sorry. So now he's going on the other sites, PS4 Daily and Xbox One Daily. And actually yesterday he found my Twitter account and he started tweeting at me just random things. Like
he did the same thing to me.
Going down my list, reading my tweets, being like, what is this? Why did you say this? And I'm like, dude, I don't know you. I don't know who you are. Why are you going through my Twitter feed?
I wonder how he found our Twitters. How did he find them? It's not like we publicly
we don't say
announce
them
our
weekly,
Twitters.
Do we?
Yeah.
But it's insane that someone would go to that level just because I ban them.
Yeah. So what would you say to this guy right now if we could change his mind about his practices and our commenting?
Be a normal person. Quit being crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
stop the silliness.
I'll tell you this. I personally, I'm pretty lenient about the whole aggressive commenting. I'll say that. But, as long as I haven't encountered anything too terrible on my side of the fence. But you guys are getting stalked and loved on and all that stuff. But,
are you sad that you don't have a stalker? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm honestly, I'm fine with that. I just look at it like this.
As he personally, I'll give him permission to go stalk you for a little bit if he'll leave me alone.
No, I tell you this. I think each respective site has their own set of trolls or whatever you want to call them, or people who aren't too I guess you could say in love with your brand or whatever. But it is what it is. It's the internet. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
I believe in the whole freedom of speech thing, but there are limits. I mean, as long as you're not talking about hurting babies and stuff like that, I don't care. That's just me.
No, he's not saying anything like that.
Yeah, as long as you're not talking about.
He called me a Wii U troll.
There you go.
On Twitter, he sent me like private messages on Twitter or something.
Get it. There you go. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
I think one of the last comments of his I read was on PS4 Daily on the last podcast we did, and he was like, "Oh, Ashley, you suck," and I was like, "Great job. That's a great contribution. Thank you."
Yeah, that's just uncalled for. It's unnecessary, and it has.
It's like, did you think that you were going to hurt my feelings by telling some random person telling me that I suck?
But still, it just doesn't make any sense why anybody would just say that.
It's a mean internet, people. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a mean, untruthful internet. You guys sound like an anti-bullying campaign or something right now.
It's not anti-bullying. It's just and people have talked to me about this on Twitter and various other places. When I first started with Wii U Daily, there were just tons and tons and tons of trolls. Like the comment section was nearly unreadable. And I've taken a little bit of a heavy hand with moderation with people using curse words and being rude to other people. And I'll give them a warning and say, if you don't quit this, you're going to get banned. And since I've done that, it's mellowed out a lot. There's a lot more discussion going on and a lot less trolling. And I think that makes for a better community. People are happier with the way that the community is being moderated. So, yeah, free speech is good and all. I'm an advocate for free speech, but there's a limit to what you should say to another person, even just as an anonymous person.
Yeah, no, I don't tolerate harassment or anything like that. But I mean, it's one of those things where people get silly and go back and forth. But like I said, it starts when you start getting into you start crossing certain lines, like threatening people and things like that, or getting obscene about things. Yeah, there's you can cock back the ban hammer when that type of stuff happens. But I get what you're saying. I mean, me, I'm just easy going about stuff. So, enough spending time talking about our beloved commenters. Did you see any movies this past week or weekend?
I watched Pain and Gain, per your recommendation, Mark.
What's the verdict?
Yes, last week you said Pain and Gain was a great movie. I had rented it from Redbox, brought it home. My buddy came over, sat down and watched it, and it was a good movie. I wouldn't say it was great. It was definitely a dark humor to it. And I do appreciate, like, Mark Wahlberg's humor. I didn't know that it was based on a true story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when I found that out, it actually ruined the movie for me. Which sucks because, that's not paying much respect to the original story. But at the same time, this is about a freaking crazy guy.
Sociopath.
Like, he was on roids, not just physically, but, like, mentally he was on roids. Just... who, he thought he could get away with it, and just the pain he caused and the murder, and
cares about
it's even more dark and twisted knowing that it was a true story.
He cares about fitness. That's why. In other movies that I've seen, I watched Dredd, the remake of Dredd. Have either of you seen that?
Oh, I've seen it.
No, I have not.
That movie was a pleasant surprise, to say the least. It's available on Netflix on the instant queue, so you can stream it if you got Netflix. And I personally thought the movie was awesome. Like, that movie with Stallone and Rob Schneider. I didn't, whatever about that. But this movie is like a sleeper hit in the comic book movie universe, at least in my opinion. It's really dark. It's really nice. The visuals are cool. Everything's legit about this movie. You guys both have Netflix. I know you do, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, you got homework. Watch Dredd. Watch it. It's not...
Did you just give us homework?
Yes, I did. That's how I roll. That's how Mark Hearn rolls. I give you homework. So what did you... But Nick, so you seen it. Wouldn't you agree, though? This movie was like a sleeper hit, like for like in the comic book world. Because a lot of these other movies got a lot of hype. Like oh God, like look at Green Lantern. They got so much hype and it was terrible.
Yeah.
But this movie...
Well, I'm not a comic book guy, so I can't really comment to that, but it was a good movie. It was definitely a surprise compared to what I had anticipated. I went in with low to no expectations because of the previous movie with Stallone. But
I am the law.
I think anybody who goes into watching the new version of that thinking that the guy, again, I don't know his name. I've seen him in other movies before.
Urban, I believe. That's
good. So anybody who thinks that Carl Urban is going to be doing an impression of Stallone is going to be sorely disappointed or pleasantly surprised, because he doesn't. He is playing Dredd. He's playing the character Dredd, Judge Dredd. So, and he does it very good. And I liked it. It was actually a really, really well done movie.
Yeah, and I mean, you could tell it wasn't like this overly priced, high budget movie. The movie doesn't look like it has this gigantic budget, and it just...
No, most of it is all indoors in that big old
compound,
hotel apartment complex. Yeah. So there was that one scene where they blew out the backside of the building, 2 floors worth, I guess. But apart from a few controlled explosions, it really wasn't a big epic Michael Bay movie or anything.
I'll say this: we have a decent share of UK listeners and followers and whatnot. Dredd is a he's a UK comic. He's a British character, if I can recall. If I'm up on my history here, so tell us what you thought of the movie if you haven't seen it. And did they nail it? Did they get it right, or was this way off? Some people love certain movies, but that doesn't mean to stay true to the source material. Did they actually do that with this? It was really good to me, though. I enjoyed it for what it was. And I mean,
we'll take any comment at this point.
Yeah.
And we'll read them on the show.
Yeah, but
so let's that concludes our sidebar discussion. I think we talked about movies enough. Let's talk about what we've been playing this past week.
The whole weekend, I've just had my Vita like a little rat in a hole playing Spelunky HD.
If you could see me right now, I've got a smile ear to ear. That makes me very happy.
Because Spelunky has always been one of my favorite games, and I held off on buying the PC version because I knew it was coming out on Vita, and as soon as it came out, I bought it day one. And I think day one was last week for the podcast.
Yeah, and you're not the first person I've heard say that they've held off on buying the PC version because it was coming to Vita.
Yeah,
that's super common.
As much as I like Spelunky, I prefer it in a handheld setting. So if I want to go watch TV or something while I'm playing, I can. Mm-hmm. It's just it's such a challenging game that I want to have it any when I go somewhere I can go, oh, I have Spelunky in my pocket, I can pull it out. I retweeted a tweet this weekend that was like, the best thing in the world is having Spelunky HD in your pocket, but also the worst thing in the world is having Spelunky HD in your pocket. And that's very true for me.
Yeah.
So,
did you play Spelunker at all?
No, I did not play that.
Okay, because I guess some of the differences, one of the big differences is Spelunker, you really can't fall without dying or taking damage. And Spelunky HD, you really can. And I've even heard one friend say that Spelunky HD is basically like the kid version of Spelunker. And I guess I really can't get your opinion if you haven't played Spelunker.
I don't know that it's a kid version. I mean, Spelunky HD.
He had more to say than
pretty...
that, but it's basically, in summary,
they have what we call on the PC version called Yazda, which is yet another stupid death. And it happens all the time. For example, I fell down, and when you fall, you lose a heart. And while I was knocked out trying to get back up, a bat hit me, so I lost another heart. And when you get hit by an enemy, you kind of bounce up into the air. Oh. Well, I was next to a spike pit, so the bat bounced me up and spiked me on the spike pit, and I was dead.
Instant
and there's
death,
absolutely nothing I could do because I was knocked out. So that was yet another stupid death.
Yep.
And you have a lot of those in the game, but it's really fun. I really enjoy it, and I'm glad that I have it now.
That's awesome.
And of course, I've finished up Splinter Cell Blacklist, and my review for that is going up.
Sometime soon.
I had some trouble with the spies and mercs, some freezing, and I wanted to get a little better experience with that, so I held off on the review, but that's going up. And yesterday, I was kind of surprised because I wasn't expecting it, but Rayman Legends showed up on my doorstep. I haven't been able to play it yet, but that's coming. So
thanks to Ubisoft for giving us some loving with that, right?
Indeed.
Because we have been buying our review copies thus far.
Yes.
So this is the first, hopefully not the last. What about you, Mark? Have you been playing anything different?
This is my birthday weekend. I didn't get to do a whole lot of gaming, but I've really been trying to revisit the whole DuckTales Remastered thing and beat that. This damn game is evil. I don't care what anyone says. If you say what you want about me or whatever, I don't know. Maybe it's something with the timing or whatever, but this game is giving me the blues. I don't know.
Are you having any issues with the pogo?
Yeah, it's like the timing mechanics just seem off. I don't know what it is, but it's like I'll jump and I'll come down and I'll do you either of you two have this game yet or no? Or
no, I don't have it, but I played it at E3. I didn't have any problems with it at E3, but I'm hearing a lot of people complain about the pogo.
It just seems weird. You know what it is? It seems like a true port of the original game's mechanics. Like if you play Mario Brothers, the original Super Mario Brothers on a Nintendo, not an emulator or anything like that, and you try and do a speed run with the regular controller, and you're not like a pro speed runner, and you're just some dude picking the game up for the first time in like 20 years, you're gonna be frustrated because the timing just seems off. It seems like there's a nice little lag here and there, and you get this particular game, you get 3 hearts. That's your health, and you can get extra hearts throughout the levels and things like that, but they're very far and few in between. Like I said, this game is from the era of when, that original NES era where games were just ridiculously difficult and unforgiving. There aren't save points or checkpoints. If you die, you have to start over. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's one of those kind of things. But the game itself, it's really fun. I try to get in like over this week because like people were pulling on me in different directions because of the whole birthday thing. I try to get like a couple hours here and there, but when it's your birthday, you don't matter. It's what everybody wants you to do. Oh, this has nothing to do with gaming, but I have to say this. Another big highlight of my weekend, besides getting older, I got to teach my mom Windows 8. That.
Oh, good luck.
Yeah,
with
my
that,
mom's
Mark.
my mom's not the computer type, to say the least. But got to teach her Windows 8.
I'm not looking forward to the day when my dad calls me and says, "Hey, I just upgraded my computer to Windows 8 and I don't know what the hell to do."
Yeah. So that was an adventure. It was a huge chunk of my week, but that was an adventure in itself. So I played Windows. I taught my mom Windows 8. I know what I will be playing, and I'll give you a sneak preview. I'll be playing the new Madden because I actually ordered the 25th anniversary edition from Amazon, which is due to get here.
What did you just say?
Yeah. So I ordered that. It's coming with the NFL Sunday ticket, so I can watch my beloved Packers. And so one of these days it'll get here. It's supposed to get here tomorrow. And I ordered a game off the internet. Thank you very much, Ashley.
Wow. That is some news, right?
Mark.
That should have went into our news section.
Yeah, it'll be here. Trust me.
Let's save that for last. That's
I've
the
been
best.
trying for months to get him to order things off the internet. And he's like, if I can't get it at Best Buy, I don't
It's
want
not just
it.
Best Buy. If I can get it at a store, my thing is this, and rest assured, I triple checked that I couldn't walk into like a Target or a GameStop or somewhere and just buy this game like that. But it was an Amazon exclusive, and this is one of those instances where exclusive content worked. I paid $100 for a game. I haven't done that in a long. You know what? I don't think I've ever done that.
Yeah, but you only paid $100 for that game because it came with Sunday Ticket.
That's correct.
Okay, that's
to
what
be
I
honest,
thought.
I haven't purchased a Madden game in about maybe 5 years. To be honest with you, so the thing that won me over was this. It's the newest football game. I am a football fan. It comes with Sunday Ticket for $40 more, and I can trade this in and upgrade to the Xbox One version of it for $10 more. So that's what made me do it.
That's cool.
So yeah,
How about you, Nick?
A game I've been playing for the past week isn't out yet, but anybody who has a Vita might be looking forward to playing the new Killzone Mercenary. I've been playing it for a week. It's pretty awesome. That's pretty much all I can say. It's pretty awesome. The reviews have started coming in as of last night, I guess. 12:01 a.m. Pacific time was when the embargo lifted. I will say that the online is very satisfying. The single player is way, way better than I had expected. It's a short game. Only takes about 5 hours to beat. So, I mean, you can take that however you like, but you don't just play the single player once in this game. You can replay each of the 9 missions, levels, I guess, with a different set of objectives. They're sort of sub-objectives, because the objective is still essentially to play the story out. But there are sub-objectives that will make you stealth each level, or there's like a demolition version where you're blowing up whatever objects might be in that particular mission. And these are very hard. They're not easy. There are 4 very skilled first-person shooter players out there, and these are single-player things too. Plus, pro tip: if when you get online, like, this is not the type of game where you buy it and then you just jump online, because you will get owned primarily by me. If you play single player, you get a ton of money, and you can actually buy all your equipment from playing single player, and then all that equipment is unlocked when you go on multiplayer, and then you can customize your loadouts. But again, you can't unlock the loadouts until you've ranked up. So you have to play the single player a lot before you should be jumping online. And I think that's a good thing, because it really forces people to be good.
I think that's a good incentive to get people to play the story instead of just immediately going online, like a lot of people do with Call of Duty.
It's not just that, but it makes people better at the game too, So there will be less noobs playing this game online, ultimately. But it's a 4v4 online game. It's not like a massive 16-player thing. It's very tight niche, but the maps are actually like perfectly designed. They're perfectly spaced out. They're not too big. They're not too small. There's a lot going on, and same goes for the single player. There's just a lot going on, and it's epic. I mean, the very first level, and I'll talk about this a little bit, but the very first level, you do a quick little shootout with like maybe 12 enemies, and then it goes right into seamlessly into like a cutscene sort of, but it's all in-game stuff. It doesn't look like it's higher resolution than the actual game. This game looks just amazing. And the cutscene has you jumping out of the building and falling down the side of the building. You're several, hundreds of floors up in the sky, and you're falling, and then suddenly you and your comrade guy, because you guys are mercenaries, bust out the wingsuits and start gliding through the air. It's crazy. And then you're flying through this gigantic city between buildings. Again, this is the same cutscene. It hasn't paused or loaded or anything. And then you end up flying right into another building where it goes right into gameplay. And I can't think of the last time I saw this, especially ever on a handheld, where like it seamlessly went from one level that was miles away into another level without batting an eye. There was no loading whatsoever. And maybe the loading was masked by that cutscene. Maybe it actually loaded everything beforehand. But there's not a single stutter to be seen. It's beautiful. I highly recommend it when it comes out, I think in a week, September 10th. And I'm looking at Amazon right now because of what Mark said, and there is a pre-order bonus on Amazon. You get Blackjack's briefcase. That looks pretty cool. Double XP.
Nice.
Yeah. It's nothing more satisfying than that little twinkle sound that they make when you kill a guy in that game. So I think that concludes our podcast episode 13. What do you guys think?
It was a good one. I'm actually, like I said earlier, I'm pleased with all the announcements from the big three.
Yeah, I think the games industry is looking pretty good right now. We're in good shape. We're all ready for these new next-gen consoles to come out. I'm sure Nintendo people are having some fun with Rayman right now. If you'd like to tell us what you're playing or give us some feedback about our podcast, be sure to email us at podcast@gamefans.com. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes and follow us on Twitter. I am at Cosmo Crisis.
I am at Overlord Roar.
And I am at Mr. Hearn, with Mr. spelled out, not MR. If you find an MR, you're going to be talking to some other dude.
Until next time, thanks for listening.